Time for another board recap podcast. Dr. Smith, we had a Tuesday school board meeting, which is not our typical time to have it, but because of the holidays, so glad you could come in and talk to us about it today.
It's my pleasure.
So we had, for our school board meeting, we started like always with good news. So let's take a look at that. And certainly a lot to celebrate right now and right on the heels of all our commencements. And you can either talk about that now or later, because I know you brought that up last night at the end of the meeting as well. But following all of the high school commencements, we were pleased to announce that our high school seniors were offered over $34 million, I said $1 million, in scholarships. And what a testament that is to them and the school staff helping them to attain that.
Yes, and I'll just go ahead and make my
Yeah,
comments
please.
now.
Please do.
Love commencements. It really is the capstone event
Sure.
for why we do what we do.
9 of them this year.
Yes, 1,418 graduates from EVSC this year. That number is up, but as you said, $34 million among the 1,418 students. And then just one of the numbers that still resonates with me. Principal John Skinner at North High School, when he was talking about the accomplishments of the particular class,
Sure.
mentioned that 82% of their graduating class had already received a college credit.
That's amazing. You're talking 4 out of 5 students in the graduating
Right.
class, and they
So-
had just under 400. I mean, they had a large
Yes,
group.
332, I think,
Yeah, I
students
think so.
had graduated from North with college credit. Some had just one, perhaps, dual credit class. Others had multiple AP classes, and several students graduated from North having already earned their associate's degree from Ivy Tech.
Yeah, really is an amazing accomplishment. And just, I mean, that is outstanding. And then when you think about just as we witnessed before and after and during these events that we were fortunate enough to be a part of, the pride, the happiness, the joy, the celebrations, the smiles.
You bet. So
Yeah.
just a great celebration. And wow, our kids have access to tremendous opportunities within our schools, and just clear evidence of that last week.
Most definitely. So we'll keep taking a look at more good news then. It will go back just a little bit to earlier in the month. We had our May Cause for Applause winner, Seth Bauer. He is a veteran high school teacher, a English teacher, department chair at Harrison High School. He's also over the years done a lot of coaching for us as well, and just an outstanding educator and an outstanding person. And that was truly obvious the day we were there.
No question, his passion for his students and for Harrison High School is evident.
Yes, definitely. Also, then Helfrich Park STEM Academy, they've really had a unique partnership with one of our great local businesses, Berry Global, for some time now. And I know in some years you've even been able to visit this, but where students really do work with them, collaborate, make presentations, and great experience for students.
They're given a challenge or a problem, and then they work in teams to solve those problems, and then they present their solutions to the folks at Berry. Just a great
Yeah,
program.
really is. Really is. So pleased to see that. International Day at Stockwell Elementary School. They had this a few weeks ago, and really loved looking at the pictures, and the students really got into that. And it was just all about focusing on different cultures around the world, and that was really an exciting. And we keep using the word experience often in today, especially, but what a great learning experience for students. And then another great experience, our honors orchestra program for our young students, our Spark program. You can see the pictures here. We had this, and really well, I'll let you talk about that. That really makes us unique for a lot of school districts to offer this for our young students.
Certainly does, and we've been doing this now, I think, for a decade. So students in the third grade are exposed to string instruments, and it is a one-of-a-kind program. I think we've mentioned many times that we are one of the few districts, certainly in this region, that has string programs, period. But what our kids can do at that early age is really incredible. And having taught instrumental music for nearly 20 years, the skill set necessary and the dexterity to master string instrument takes a little bit longer than it may a wind instrument or a percussion instrument. So that's why that early start is so beneficial to your students. But if you just look at the pictures on the screen, there are a lot of students.
Yes,
A lot
definitely.
of
And,
students on that.
we've lifted one of our high school students who is just an extraordinary musician who is really becoming one of the elite of his age, really across the nation. And I believe Braden we're talking about,
Right,
and
Braden Riley.
Braden Riley, and he was in Spark, I believe, when he was in third grade. That's where it all
You're
started
correct,
for him.
right. He was in the inaugural class.
Okay, okay. So, yeah, and the rest is history, so to speak, for
Right.
him. So, yeah, kudos to all of those involved with this. And then last but not least, we really had a nice surprise announcement. This came out at North High School at the end of their class day ceremony. This teacher had no idea. She is teacher Suzanne Glass Foster at North High School. She was named the 2023 Indiana State Teachers Association Ethnic Minority Educator. She's right here in EVSC at North High School, and just to see the expression on her face, but also all of her students and fellow staff members or colleagues, that was exciting to see.
Right, great award and very, very deserving.
Yes, most definitely. And we had a lot of other things posted, but for sake of time, we had to pick and choose here. So lots of good news, and that wraps that up. And if you would, you want to take us through consent
You bet.
items.
We'll go right into consent items, starting with item 3.02, consideration of allowance of payments of $16,487,388.07. So a little bit larger than normal, really for two reasons. First of all, it was a 3-week period of time in between board meetings. And then secondly, with the end of the school year activities, paying out more invoices than we typically would during the school year. Item 3.03, consideration to approve purchase of items from extracurricular account. There was one from Cynthia Heights, and it is a laminator, and they are using fundraising proceeds in order to pay for that. Item 3.04, consideration to approve grant proposals. So there was one grant on this board agenda, and it is what we call a non-competitive grant through the Indiana Department of Education. So what that means is that we receive money specifically for high ability based on a formula. And as I think this audience knows, we have invested a lot in terms of resources and time and to our high ability program. We have a cohort of teachers that are being trained specifically uh, with high ability practices and will receive basically that certification.
And that's really exciting. That's unique too. And we've always had, don't want to suggest we haven't always had dedicated, talented, high ability teachers, but to actually then put them through this training in the latest
Right.
research and best practices, because we know high ability students, they do have a certain way they'll go about thinking. And we want to
Right.
make sure we're matching that learning style with our teaching
Yeah, it's
style.
not just harder material or
No,
faster pace,
no.
but this program through IU, we're, as I said, we're putting a cohort of teachers through that. Once again, taking a very focused and intentional approach with our high ability students. And later on, the board heard about high ability curriculum that we're also adding. So lots in that particular area of our practice with our high ability students. And then moving on to 3.05, consideration to approve the resolution to transfer from the education fund to the operations fund. And we do this on a quarterly basis, $5.5 million for a total of $22 million over the course of this school year. Item 3.06, consideration to approve the resolution regarding the IDOE state school number changes. And as we had said earlier with Harwood Career and Prep Academy, because of declining enrollments due primarily to the change in high school graduation requirements, and specifically with career pathways
From the state,
from the
not
state,
for us. Yeah.
we still wanted to keep the very best of the great things that Harwood Prep does for students. So we are moving those concepts and those supports into each individual high school. And because of that, we are removing the Harwood school number designation and then once again retaining the program designation number.
And really a lot of excitement with moving from one facility to five Harwood centers. I mean, we're going to be able to maximize supports and do it on an individual level with what each one of our students needs who served in those.
Correct. And we will actually reach a larger number of students than what
Absolutely.
Harwood standalone high school could do previously.
While they get to stay in their home high school, which there's always a great benefit to that as well.
Right. Item 3.07, consideration to approve the installment purchase agreement for the financing of middle school Chromebooks. So we are doing that. We will pay interest of $46,000 on this $416,000 purchase. Then item 3.08, consideration to approve the renewal with Pro Rehab. Pro Rehab has been a great partner with EVSC. They provide the athletic trainers for all of our high schools. So It is certainly a comfort for me knowing that we have those trained professionals at our athletic events.
And man, boy, do they ever work closely with our student athletes. I mean, they are a vital component of that athletic department.
Yes, and so we're grateful to once again to renew that. When we look at item 3.09, consideration to approve the renewal agreement with Smart Systems. So this really is the sanitation and safety program that we have for food service, and we have had them for a number of years. This is a slight increase in the contract, but they provide excellent service for us. Item 3.10, consideration to approve the professional services consultant agreement. So, as you know, the students that are served in our English as a second language program continues to grow, and there are certain ratios or thresholds that we need to maintain or to provide um, professional development for our administrators and our teachers. So, this is basically making certain that we are fulfilling our responsibility to those students, and this is engaging the services of a consultant. Item 3.11, consideration to approve change order number 1 for Cedar Hall interior renovation project of 2023. So there were certain changes that we wanted to put in place, and these basically are delineating those improvements and enhancements. Item 3.12, consideration to approve the renewal agreement with Instruction Partners. Instruction Partners has been with us for several years. They always receive rave reviews from our teachers. So this is an expansion of the services that they are providing us at a few schools. We're growing that to, I believe, about 4 more schools. And we certainly do appreciate that partnership also. And item 313, consideration to approve the renewal with Entrada School Messenger. So this is really our website service, and we were able to lock in at a very modest increase of 1.5% increase per school year for, I think, the next 3 years.
And that takes us through consent and then moving into personnel recommendations.
So it's that time of year where we have
Yes.
a number of personnel recommendations, and we do have some movement in our administrators. And so that is certainly on this personnel agenda, as well as hiring a lot of new teachers coming on board. And the last 2 weeks on Tuesday morning, we
Mhm.
have been onboarding teachers, about 20 at a time. And boy, I tell you,
It's
that's pretty
exciting to
special. And I
see.
think you were
Yes.
pretty excited yesterday. Can you
Yes,
tell
my
us a little
my
bit about
daughter
that?
was in that group yesterday. She'll be teaching second grade at Scott Elementary School, and yeah, just to see her, to see all of the people she was with last week, another group, like you said, and I think for the next several weeks there's going to be more groups coming through. But just to see that excitement, and some are brand new teachers, some are teachers coming to us from other districts who have experience. But just knowing that these are the folks that are going to be making a difference in kids and families' lives. I mean, it what a job they're taking on, but boy, you could see in their face they're ready to go.
Yep.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't say this. We didn't show a picture during Good News of we had a retirement reception for outgoing folks. But each year we're hiring new teachers, most of which are replacing retiring educators. And you and I have talked before. When you see these people, when you look at the list, you think, what tremendous educators who dedicated 30, 35, 40 years, and other entities as well, bus drivers, that type of thing. But wow, the dedication, and we certainly appreciate what they've done, and we wish them well in their future endeavors.
Yes, and thank you for bringing that up. I think Sheila Huff won the prize 47
47.
years as an educator with
I
EVSC,
think that's a pretty good length of time for a career.
changing, shaping lives.
Yes,
And as we all know, Sheila, will be blessed to continue to have her knowledge and her presence.
sure.
Um, so that's a blessing. But all of the folks that we were able to acknowledge that have dedicated their lives to helping others live a better life, boy, our community is blessed.
Boy, how many people they touched in the course of these long careers, for sure.
Absolutely.
So that takes us into last night. We had two action items.
Yes, so action item 5.01, consideration to award the food and nutrition uniform purchase. So that was approved by the board, and basically we are able to provide all 300 of our employees with 6 different uniforms each. Um, and we are pleased to be able to do that. I think that will add to the climate and culture of our
Yeah, will
food
really look
service.
nice in our cafeterias, food service.
Item 5.02, consideration to adopt policy 8513, political activities on school properties. Um, So once again, that had been taken as an information item before, brought back now as an action item, and the board did approve that last night.
And then that moved us into information items from last night.
Yes. So for the first information item, item 6.01, consideration to approve the purchase of curriculum from Kendall Hunt Publishing Company. This is specifically for our high ability students. And so it's not that we just go out and buy what's most popular, but we actually did vet this with
Mm.
two outstanding individuals acknowledged as experts in the field of high ability. One of those is actually an individual that we are blessed to be able to work with through IU. And this is content that they said is without a doubt the very best for high ability students. So we took that as an information item last night to the board and hope for their approval at our next board meeting on June the 12th.
And then I think Dr. Underwood finished up with the next four items.
Yes, and the next four items all have to do with our monthly review of financial reports, and these reports go back on board docs to 2008. So now you have 15 years of monthly reports about our financial status and standing.
And then that wrapped up information. And again, continued business. You touched last night on just the wonderful commencements we've talked about. And I'll just include it here because he did make it a secret. We were thrilled to welcome back President Kiefer in person. He's been on Zoom the last couple of times, but he certainly survived a major medical incident. He said that, not sharing anything that he didn't, and it was great to see him back in.
Yeah, and as he shared last night, only 3% survive what
What
he
he
had a
encountered.
massive heart attack and
Yes.
on February 24th. So it was so good to see
Yes.
him back and to have him back. What a tremendous leader and a passion for kids. So only 3% survived. So I thank God that he was
We're
among
glad he's
those
one of them.
3%. You
Yes.
bet.
Yes. His role continues on the school board for sure. So,
Yes.
and that wraps up then last night's meeting. Next time we meet, it's going to be the month of June. If things continue to roll on. And like we always say, it's amazing how even though one year has ended, things are well underway getting ready for this next school year that'll be here before we know it. But lots of work to go during the summer. And we appreciate everyone out there who's getting it done to make sure we're ready.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thanks.